So some Republicans in Kansas are looking to resurrect fusion voting. This is a system of elections that's been banned in the state since the early 1900s. Don Hineman, who's the former Kansas Speaker of the House, recently lamented the fact that his party had moved away from the political center and saw fusion voting as a way to bring it back. Now, this system allows candidates to be nominated by more than one party, so a candidate can campaign for smaller minor party endorsements and appear more than one time on the ballot. Advocates say it makes it easier for voters to organize into smaller parties and have their positions heard, but there are a few problems. The first is that fusion voting hasn't really shown to give smaller parties an edge. It's been used in New York State for years and hasn't really changed the behavior of the state's Democratic or Republican parties. The second is that regardless of whether you're using fusion voting or the system that most states have now, candidates are still chosen in partisan primaries. These are low turnout elections where the most partisan voters participate. So even if they had fusion voting in Kansas, those Kansas Republicans who organize under a moderate party would still have to choose a Republican who has been chosen by the rank and file of a party that Hineman himself argues has drifted from the political center. Now, any Republican looking to bring moderates back into the party should look at Alaska. They implemented a top 4 primary system where all candidates from all parties compete in an open primary for all voters, and the top 4 vote getters make it on the ballot. This ensures that the candidates who make it to the general election have the widest appeal and aren't just appealing to their partisan base. And the general election in Alaska is determined by ranked choice voting. This is a system that tends to favor non-polarizing candidates because it requires a candidate pass a 50% threshold of support in order to win. And this system has produced Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, the only Republican who has been vocally critical of Donald Trump and still has a career. Now, one last note on this. One problem that I have with reforms designed to bring power back to the center is that it does so at the expense of the far left and far right. And drowning them out isn't necessarily good for democracy either. My preference would be a system of proportional representation similar to ones used in some countries in Europe that make it a lot easier for smaller parties to form and challenge the status quo when the major parties are failing to deliver. That being said, America is under political cardiac arrest right now, and I think any reform that can get government back into the business of actually governing is an improvement. If you're curious about this reform, get those Googling fingers ready and Google top 4 voting, or just follow me. I talk about this stuff all the time. Adios.